Hey, what's going on, everybody? Leigh Dickey here, comedian, actor, producer, reviewer, and welcome to the Leigh Dickey TV YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, and turn on notifications so you never miss another upload. Please do follow me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Leigh T. Dickey, and visit my official website, leightdickey.com. If you would, please subscribe to both my podcasts, the Beats and Speaks podcast and Yo Nostalgia. Please do comment, like, subscribe, and share on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts as well. Please and thank you. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. That really helps us out a lot. But thanks for tuning in to the Leigh Dickey TV YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. Now let's get on to today's video. The still untitled Alec Baldwin and Kelsey Grammer sitcom has been scrapped at ABC. I tell you all about it right now. Alright, so yes, this Alec Baldwin and Kelsey Grammer starring sitcom that does not have a title has been scrapped at ABC. Now, the series was given a straight-to-series order back in November by the Alphabet Network, by the Disney-owned ABC Alphabet Network, and they've decided to scrap it, I guess, after executives have seen the pilot. They weren't all that keen on it, didn't want to move forward with it, despite giving it a straight-to-series order in the fall, in November. Which, you know, I mean, if you're a fan of Alec Baldwin or Kelsey Grammer, I mean, it sucks, I guess. Like, it's not fun. It's never fun, say, like, because, you know, it's a paycheck for those guys. It's a job for those guys, and it's just, you know, they sign on to do that, but it's still up to the network and the executives as to whether or not they want to move forward with the show. Now, my understanding of television shows and pilots, even though I've never worked on like sitcoms and stuff like that, I do have a television production background. I've never worked on sitcoms or dramas and, you know, your weekly television shows. But my understanding is that the network greenlights a pilot, they pay the cast and crew for the pilot, and then that's it until they decide whether or not they want to pick the show up for series. Now, some shows have been lucky enough to skip the pilot stage and just get straight to series orders and do rather well, right? This show looked to be one of them. I mean, the network itself seemed to be very high on this Alec Baldwin, Kelsey Grammer project, but, you know, I guess something changed. I mean, according to the article that I read on this series scrapping and, you know, ABC not moving forward with this sitcom, the executives at ABC saw the pilot and just were like, no, this isn't going to work. I mean, the premise behind this sitcom with both Baldwin and Grammer was that they would star as two of three roommates that were in their, or two of three people that were in their, you know, senior years in life that were roommates in their 20s, and, you know, feuding sort of drove them apart. So two of those roles were filled by Kelsey Grammer and Alec Baldwin. The third role was recently filled by Alec Mapa, however you say his last name, of Ugly Betty fame. And, you know, I guess the network just, they saw the pilot and they weren't all that happy. Now, my understanding is that obviously you sign a contract for at least the pilot, the network pays you for the pilot, and then if they give you a straight to, or they pick it up, then, you know, the money starts rolling in. But since it was a straight to series order, my understanding is they sign a contract for however much money, and, you know, given on whether or not the show does well, could constitute a raise within, say, the second season if it gets picked up or not. But they sign on for that first season, say, and then, you know, you figure out the rest and you go from there. Now, obviously, like, they had people from all walks of life on this show. You had, you know, Kelsey Grammer, Alec Baldwin, Alan Mapa, and it didn't take off. It didn't necessarily, it wasn't what the network wanted, I guess you could say. And, I mean, there's more, and I'll tell you about that in just a sec. Like I said, after seeing the pilot, execs at ABC weren't all that high on the show going forward to begin with, so they really didn't like the pilot, which was directed by James Burrows. Now, he's done episodes of Friends, Cheers. It was penned and written by Christopher Lloyd and Valley Chandrasekhar. I think that's how you say his last name, or her last name, or their last name. Sorry. I've never really was a big Modern Family fan to begin with, but I suppose that's why I don't know how to say that last name. But, you know, to have a pilot written by such sort of Hollywood heavyweights and Hollywood royalty like Christopher Lloyd and Valley Chandrasekhar, sorry, and then have it directed by somebody like James Burrows, and then just to have the network reject it. I suppose this happens all the time, you know, in Tinseltown, but they just seem so high on the project. I remember hearing about it maybe a year and a half ago and thinking, oh, okay, so, you know, because I assumed that, you know, Alec Baldwin, like, sort of just turned his career around. Like, he's had roles in, obviously, 30 Rock. He's hosted SNL, or guest hosted SNL a number of times. And, you know, one of my favorite movies of his was Brooklyn Rules, which was a small independent movie he did with Freddie Prinze Jr. and Scott Conn. He was also in another one of my favorite films, Glenn Ross. And then you have Kelsey Grammer, who's known for his roles on Cheers, Frasier, Sideshow Bob on The Simpsons, Back to You, which is where I think he first encountered Christopher Lloyd, the TV executive producer, but or writer, mind you. Or they may have known each other previously, I'm not sure. But, you know, to have a show that basically straight to series, because these two are so well known, and then to have them shoot the pilot, you know, present it to the executives, and then just go, and then have them go meh, or just, you know, not be so high on it. It's kind of disappointing, and I'm not even in their position. I'm not even in their shoes. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I'm not knocking the fact that they were both given this sitcom, and then you have Alec Mapa, or Mopa, however you say his last name, from Ugly Betty, come in as that third roommate, which basically, like, the premise, like I said earlier, was, you know, three people that were roommates in their 20s sort of reunite in their 60s and try to give, you know, the life that they wanted in their 20s another shot. But, you know, the reason that they were torn apart was because feuding in their 20s basically was just like, nah, we're not doing this anymore. We're you know, that tore them apart. And you know, it's sad that the network didn't want to move forward with it after seeing the pilot, but I suppose this happens all the time. And it's unfortunate. It does happen. I mean, I've been on shows in my own career that have been canceled and brought back 3 or 4 times. And that's all within like a 6 or 7 year run, or maybe less, I'm not sure. But, you know, I was on one show as a crew member that was canceled and brought back 3 or 4 times just here in my local market. And, you know, it's so sort of, it's that start-stop nature, I guess, of this type of business that is kind of disheartening. It's kind of disappointing, but it happens. But I'm sure, like, according to this article anyway, that because this show was given sort of a straight-to-series order, that both Baldwin and Grammer, and I suppose everybody involved, will be given substantial checks to say thanks for your time, but we've decided to pass on the project. But that's what's going on with this Alec Baldwin, Kelsey Grammer sitcom that is no longer moving forward at ABC after execs have seen the pilot. Now, I wonder if it's just going to end up being one of those things where, you know, some years down the line the pilot gets leaked onto the internet, or whatever, somehow, like, it just ends up on, like, YouTube or something. I'd love to see it. You know, that's just me, because I'm a big fan of television pilots. and to see where a show goes from there. But that's what's going on with the Alec Baldwin, Kelsey Grammer sitcom. Thanks again for watching. Please take care. We'll talk to you all again very soon. Peace. Thanks for tuning in to Leigh Dickey TV on YouTube. Please remember to subscribe, comment, like, and share as well. Please do subscribe to both my podcasts, the Beats and Speaks podcast and Yo Nostalgia on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, or your favorite podcast app and player of choice. Leave us a 5-star rating and review as well. Follow the fun on social media at Leigh T. Dickey. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And find out more information about me on my official website, leightdickey.com. All the links are in the description and show notes down below. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Leigh Dickey, comedian, actor, producer, reviewer, and we will see you next time. Peace!